Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Person may speak about any subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and is not already on today's agenda. The total amount of time allotted for receiving such public communication should be limited to a total of 15 minutes per individual or group and will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Prior to this time, speakers are requested to fill out a request to speak card and submit it to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. If you are participating via Zoom and wish to comment, please use the raise hand function or *9 if participating on can be taken on comments made under this heading. To the chair, I have 2 requests. Ms. Karen Liggett.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Supervisors, and we could barely hear what you were saying, young lady. I was trying to listen. But anyway, I'm here because I heard about something very disturbing, that the fellowship, one of their members is trying to open up a food hub up in the foothills. That's very unhealthy. I heard the fellowship is very unhealthy people, that he's one of the guys that's involved had restaurants that did not go up to health standards. They're not good people, and that's not a good environment for our kids and our families that are visiting our area to go ahead and get involved with that because of all the illnesses going around. Do you, as a board, want to go ahead and further get people sick? Because the fellowship people seem to be having their, should I say, their way of getting their way of getting stuff done, and through corruption and all that. The corruption needs to stop. Yuba County needs to further get better reputation as far as stopping all the corruption and all the handouts for favors and all that. All that stuff needs to stop so Yuba County could go further in a positive way and not have negativity in Yuba County anymore. Because Yuba County's been known for negativity for a long time. It needs to stop. And the Fellowship of Friends, they're no good. They're a cult. They mistreat kids. They've been known to be investigated by FBI. And so why have a food hub where it's going to get people sick? It's up to you guys, but you guys being the board, you guys are supposed to be the final decision. And the final decision is for Yuba County to be healthy, not just give some group of people that are not very healthy the run of the county. It's up to you. But for me, I want healthiness. I'm not going to go to their food hub at all because I'm planning on moving up to the foothills. I'm not going, and I'm going to tell everybody not to. But it's up to you guys to say no to them and finally say no.
Great, thank you.
Joy Smith.
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Joy Smith, and I'm with Fieldhaven Feline Center out of Placer County. I wanted to share some really good news with you all that will help the animals in Yuba County. Yuba County Animal Services will really benefit from a new funding source that will save lives and help pet owners. The program is called California for All Animals and is providing $50 million, yes, $50 million statewide for animal shelters. So let me give you a little background and before I tell you how Yuba County Animal Services can benefit. In the fiscal year 2021 budget, Governor Newsom proposed $50 million of one-time general fund dollars for the UC Davis Correct Shelter Medicine program to develop a program that provides expertise, support, and local assistance grants over a 5-year period to help local communities achieve the state's policy goal that no adoptable or treatable dog or cat should be euthanized. Because of the enormous challenges with COVID, this got delayed a bit, but the allotment was signed into law last July. So the history of this funding goes back to 1998 with SB 1785, which was also called Hayden's Law. And that established a state policy that no adoptable or treatable dog or cat can be euthanized at an animal shelter. At the time when it was signed, California shelters euthanized an estimated 531,000 dogs and cats each year. While progress has been made, in 2018, California still euthanized 180,000 animals, almost 500 dogs and cats each day. While some of those may be owner requested or to relieve irremediable suffering, we know we can do better. UC Davis Shelter Medicine Program, who are the administrators of the fund, are a team of shelter medicine experts who are trained to approach shelter assessments holistically, taking into account community capacity partnerships, local ordinance, and the overall culture of an organization. The recommendations made by Correct will be focused on high impact, limited in results, investments that result in sustainable gains. Cal for All Animals is only one step in reaching the state's goal. So what Correct Shelter Medicine is going to do is create sustainable programs with this funding. So where do we start? So basically all Yuba County Animal Services needs to do is start, but it gets even one step better. There is a welcome grant of $5,000 that will be available to municipal shelters, and they are eligible for this grant. And they need to complete the grant application by March 31st, and it will just involve providing shelter data from 2017 to 2021. And I'd be glad to offer my services to help prepare that data. So look at that, I landed right on the dot zero.
Very good.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Joy.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just want to briefly thank the Trap Neuter Release Program for dramatically reducing the cat population in Marysville. Worked really well. Thank you.
And if you'd like to follow up a bit on that, Don, that'd be great.
What's that?
If you'd like to follow up on that, on this grant, that'd be really good. It's always nice to have positive information come to the board. Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes. Terry?
Thank you for letting me speak. I have some things to say with no disrespect to any of you. With no disrespect.
If you would give your name, please.
My name is Terry Thompson.
Thank you.
With no disrespect to any of you, but my question is, number one, why do you have these meetings at 9 o'clock in the morning when nobody can come to them that is the public that you represent? No one can come to these. They're working. They're trying to feed their kids. They're trying to keep their jobs. And today's times are not good. You're not helping. Why do you do that? My first question. The other one is on these voting machines. You guys want another one. Have you ever looked into what these machines were basically made for, what they were in, where they come from, and how they can be manipulated? And they have been manipulated. These are all facts, yet you guys want to keep using them. I don't understand that. I want to know why you cannot work for us instead of you working for all of you. You don't do the people any justice at all. Look at us out here. The people are starving. They're losing their jobs. They're losing it. Look at the gas prices. Nobody cuts down the gas tax and says, let's stop it for a year until nobody helps us. This government is nothing but a tyrannical government. Our whole capital is run by communists. You know it, the people know it, but nobody has a voice. Well, I'm the only one that'll stand it because I'm not afraid to tell all of you, we need to take our county back first. Then we need to take the state back and then our nation, or we're all going to be living like Russia. We're going to be like Ukraine if you don't watch out what we're doing. You people need to start listening to your constituents that put you in office. Every one of you were put in this office to help us, not yourself, not the Capitol, not any of it. All these laws, look at the Corona thing. That was a scam from the beginning. And you know what? Every one of you followed it. Why? Because of the money. The schools were getting millions of dollars to make sure that our kids had these masks on and this, and you couldn't do that. And you're destroying them little minds. Them little minds are our future. Your kids, your grandkids' future. You need to think about them and not yourself. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, Terry.
Tom McWhorter.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I would prefer to speak on each subject 3 minutes each.
You have 3 minutes.
For both?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. See, there we go. Yeah. Randy Fletcher being Randy Fletcher.
Sure.
Well, all right. First of all, I don't know exactly why we chose the Dominion voting systems. I did a little checking last night and found out that there are 10, that's right, 10 voting systems in California are certified. And now all of a sudden we need another scanner. I don't see any justification for it here. No explanation other than the fact that they want to buy an additional scanner for $30,000. So I'd like to suggest that I would ask you to vote no on that resolution and not to get any further deeper involved in that California certified voting system and heavily look at any of the other 9. Okay. All right. So since I'm getting my time chopped up here, the other item is that I'm not sure exactly because it doesn't state here what these 2.5 acres are to be leased for by the says here, description, Community Development Services, appoint Mike Lee, Community Development and Services Director, and Jason Copping, Airport Manager, as real property negotiators, who may negotiate the lease of 2.5 acres within APN 013-410-112-000 with DKOTA investments pursuant to Government Code Section 5495 6.8. Okay. I guess somewhere there's an expanded version of that so that common layman would understand it. I don't know what this 2.5 acres is to be leased to be used for, but I would like to make sure that the entire board and council are aware, because I know Seth is aware of this. I spoke to him already. Remember, that airport is governed by the FAA. And Sutter County's airport right now currently is in violation of FAR's, Federal Aviation Regulations, as far as airport property use under the FAA's control. So the gun range over there is on airport property. We got a sweet deal. I don't know how long it's exactly for, but they pay $1 a year. I understand our own particular airport has several sweet deals that hurt us. 99 years for $1. The FARs also state that whenever you lease stuff out, it's to be leased out at fair market value. Not because my gun buddy wants to open up a shipping company over there and, hey, $1 a year for 99 years.
Okay, if you can wrap this up, that'd be good.
Randy, I appreciate it if you would just stop interrupting my thought train.
Please. Okay.
Okay.
Time is up. So Thank you for your comments.
No, many people think that the
Thank
guys
you.
putting in limits on us is a violation of our First Amendment right.
I know.
And I happen to agree with it.
Thank you.
Good thing I don't have to vote.
Any other comments?
We have two members online that would like to speak. Mr. Charles Sharp, I believe.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, Charles Sharp.
Good morning.
Good morning, yes. I understand the county is putting together a Measure F oversight committee. This is a good idea to help ensure transparency and accountability among the various agencies as to how they have spent their funds. My biggest concern are fires in the foothills, and I am for any efforts that will help the local fire departments be better prepared. A question: do you know how one is alerted that there is a fire in the area? You hear the high-pitched whine of a CAL FIRE spotter plane overhead. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Dr. Fleur?
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm here to make just 2 or 3 points. First of all, I just wanted to extend a very sincere thank you to the Board of Supervisors for their support for the food hub proposed for the foothills. This is a tremendous opportunity for economic growth in our area and would serve all of the farmers and ranchers in the foothills area that are currently struggling due to a lack of water and a lack of resources. So the food hub is a tremendous step forward for the foothills and for the more of the small business farmers and ranchers, some of them organic, some are beef, some are sheep, some are vintners, some are organic vegetables and olives that are grown there in the foothills. So it's a tremendous opportunity, and I cannot tell you how grateful the foothills community is for your support for this endeavor. The farmers and ranchers come from all walks of life and definitely need our support to grow ecotourism in our area, as well as serve the local community. So thank you very much for doing that. We really appreciate that. Also, just based on a few of the comments that were made, I also wanted to take an opportunity to thank you all very much for how the last election was handled. It was amazingly wonderful to be able to drive up to the county offices and pop my ballot in the drop box without having to get out of my vehicle and risk contact, as of course that was a time of pretty rampant COVID going on. I hope that that is going to continue. Those drop boxes are super important. And I also am very grateful for all of the voting systems that you have in place. It worked very well in the last election, so thank you for that. And then lastly, I did want to chime in on what Charles said, and I'm wondering about whether or not the idea of sirens is something that could be revisited for fire protection, particularly in the foothills. Sirens have been used historically very effectively. They're not that expensive. They do require some maintenance, but there's a fairly active volunteer community in the foothills area that I think would be very happy to take care of those sirens. And it would be a great way to reach people that don't have good access through the internet. You know, the access to the internet in the foothills is iffy at best, and oftentimes it pretty much is unavailable or it goes out. Sirens are always going to be available as long as there's some folks maintaining it. So I just wanted to throw that out there and see if it's something that the supervisors would reconsider. Thanks.
Good, thank you. Just as a side note, the county has been working over this last year on sirens. There is a grant, it has been approved, and we are working down that path. Possibly by later this year, there may be some activity on that. It's a coordinated effort to get this together, but you can anticipate that is coming. So just so you know what's happening.
That's fantastic news. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. So moving on to county departments, you have no other communications. Thank you. Under county departments, item 87, 2022, receive information about a request from Bosnia Area Council in Gambia to establish a relationship for the purpose of learning from each other.
All right, there we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
Fletcher, members of the board, Russ Brown, Media and Community Relations Coordinator for Yuba County. And this request comes to us from the Gambia in West Africa. And I want to be able to present this to you. I put together a PowerPoint for you to kind of give a lay of the land and also talk a little bit about how this request ended up coming here to Yuba County. So we'll start here. First of all, where is the Gambia? It is called the Gambia. It is on the very western edge of Africa. And as a matter of fact, it's surrounded by Senegal, the entire country of Senegal, with the North Atlantic Ocean just to the west edge. You can see it's very small, very narrow, very long. And off to the very eastern edge, you see Basse, the area in which this council operates and has government responsibilities. So I want to talk about the Gambia so you understand it a little bit more. And these notes are small, they're mostly for me to keep me on track here. So as I said before, western edge of the Atlantic Ocean and the rest of it completely in Senegal. And it's called the smiling, I'll go back one here. It's called the smiling coast of Africa because it does have that grand. It is about 200 miles long and it ranges anywhere from 15 miles to about 31 miles north to south. So a long and narrow country. And also the population just under 2.2 million people throughout that country. Industries, fishing, farming, tourism. It back in the late 1800s, it was a French and British colony, after which it was a British colony up until 1965 when the Gambia gained its independence. It did have issues with some of the leadership in terms of being corrupt, and the corrupt leadership was ousted in 2017, fairly recent, and it's had some very good success recovering from that and actually moving forward with some very good initiatives as a country. And the people we talked to over in the Basse area say the entire country is kind of focusing on more equality and tolerance throughout the area. So again, the Basse area is on the easternmost edge of the country. They have a lot of work projects they're working on right now. They're working on bridges, they're working on roads. Safe drinking water is a big issue there, agricultural improvements. And they want to, and more recently, there was a big focus on a library. There's not a library right now in the Basse area, and that's a concern to them. And we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. And the council folks we talked to, they say they are promoting the tolerance amongst the different ethnic groups that are there, cultures and such. Oh, and just to let you know, and as a British colony, they English is their language. There's a mix of number of dialects that are there, but English is the official language of the Gambia. So how we got connected. Yuba Jawara is the name of this gentleman here. He is the vice mayor of the Basse Area Council. And he came across us back in the beginning of January. He actually stumbled across our Facebook page and just said, Yuba is my name, and is this a county? We engaged with him a few times over the next few weeks. It was kind of enjoyable. He told us more about him, more about the council and what they were trying to achieve. He really started following things, liking things on our Facebook page. And I have a phone icon in there just because he called us once and I had a conversation with him. It was very interesting. He's very interested. I texted him this morning. We're messaging back and forth on Facebook. He's very interested in the outcome of this proposal before you. Keen follower, like I said, lately he's been focusing on the library issue. He's jumped over and watched what's going on the Facebook page for the Yuba County Library. And they've been discussing among their own leadership there in the Bosse Area Council about starting a library, starting the initiative. I know they've approached the national government there for funding to do something further. And on the Yuba County Library page, there are at least 7 folks from the accounts from the Gambia, from the Bosse area, that are now liking what's going on in the library, following it, the different activities, and talking about it. So there's a big interest in seeing a library develop there. That's one of the main focuses, but still the others remain. The issues with roads, the infrastructure, and even just plain budgeting. So the letter here is what's before you today, coming as their own proposal. There are a number of elements in there. They're looking for a partnership that would help them with helping with their own leadership, enhance that. They feel like it would be mutual. They want to establish a relationship. I love that they say Yuba County is something to be emulated, what we do here from what they've seen, what they've read. They want to add to their own growing success. They feel like they are increasing in their successes there in that region. They're looking for technical support, help with the legislative, administrative parts of their operation, agriculture, environment, very important, and also just they're thinking about official working tours at some point. They'd love to see what goes on here, so that's something that they're just interested in. And they would like anything that we come up with be mutually beneficial. So this is what's before you today in terms of the letter. And what can the board do? A lot of options. It's up to what the board would like to consider. One is take no action. We could simply send a letter of appreciation to the Bosse Area Council for their interest. We could take a role of limited technical advice. It might be in helping them with a discussion on how they go about improving roads or helping with a library, something like that. We could be specific and look at their library concerns and help with that initiative in some manner. And the other one is just a full relationship in terms of a sort of a sister city type relationship where we can actually just occasionally come to them, help them out with information, help them out with projects they're working on, look for that mutual benefit. So through a resolution. So that's what's before you today. And I just want to pass it back to our board here, and I appreciate your time.
So thank you, Russ. Interesting concept. When I hear the word partnership, I think of liability right off the top. So I'm a little apprehensive on partnership, but communication between countries and ideas, I suspect could be a very valuable and interesting concept. Whereas who's got the time to do it? I guess I would ask that you actually give us that input. Who would do it and what would they do? From me personally, I think it's a great idea for communication and to help them, to help us, to see how it all comes together. Start slow and see how it comes, what happens. So for the board.
Through the chair. Do we have any books that we're phasing out of the library that we can send?
I think we have
a
lot of them, I believe.
Well, that might be the first step in seeing how they want to, what they want to help with or what we can help them do. I think that would be a nice gesture to start with.
Donna, you're on the library committee.
My first thought was your option 1, which was to send the letter. First option. Yep, I think we're on. My first thought was option 1. You were going to send a letter acknowledging their request. Okay, we're still good.
All right, talk closer to the mic then.
Another passing thought is there's probably Gambia similar situations within the United States that we should also have that thought in our head too, where we could support some of the areas next door. So.
I guess I'll be the bleeding heart. Yeah, let's do that. I guess question about liability or cost is important. So, but if it's at our convenience, if it's excess that we have and we can share and help them out, I'm completely in favor of helping from our excess. But do we have an idea of what the costs would be or the liability, as Randy pointed out?
And liability, I'm not sure there's a whole lot in what we're talking about, and just like
because it's all voluntary on our side.
Exactly. It's sending like what say excesses that we may have off of them, and that's one reason I did check with the to make sure that the language was good. If we had a lot of books in English, and English is the official language and taught in the schools there.
So if they have a question about how an irrigation ditch architecture structure is, and we give it over to our guy in Public Works, and they're going to spend 5 extra minutes on it, and it creates a great gain for them, then that seems like something that I'm willing to allocate 5 extra minutes for. Even though I understand there is a cost there, I would call it de minimis or negligible. So I would move for a sister district county relationship.
I'll second.
Gary, comments? Any comments? For more
I don't think, I'm not sure I can add more to what Seth said. I absolutely agree. I mean, I think it can be mutually beneficial, and I think we can learn and they can learn, and sharing of information and gaining a better understanding of each other's region and those kind of things with minimal resources from our side, I think is an excellent opportunity, and I definitely support it.
So what I'm hearing is start that dialogue, keep the dialogue going with Gambia, and let's see how it evolves. How's that?
And for clarification, I mean, are we interested in having a resolution come back to the board, or do you just want the? I think that was the motion. Sister agency. Correct.
Yes. So if you'll put that together, bring it back to the board, that would be very valuable. Any comments from the public? Okay. All right. Then we'll take a vote on that, if you would, Rochelle.
Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Microphone?
Mic on.
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 103, 2022, adopt resolution authorizing Yuba County's public defender, Brian Davis, to participate in the public defense pilot program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Members of the board. Can you hear me? Hello? Okay.
There you go.
Better.
Yes. This is Jamie Yang, Management Analyst with the County Administrator's Office. The Board of State and Community Corrections, also known as BSCC, is administering a new grant program available to California counties. Funding allocations are determined based on total adult population, which Yuba County's allocated amount is roughly $92,000. Funding may not supplant another funding source. Brian J. Davis, Yuba County's contracted public defender, developed Project Second Chance to utilize the Public Defense Pilot Program funding to provide representation to those individuals meeting the criteria for consideration, and apply for the grant in January. The Board of Supervisors or County Administrator may delegate the County Public Defender's Office, which in this case would be Mr. Davis, or another public defense office to be the applicant entity. The County Administrator provided Mr. Davis a delegation letter on February 9th. A signed resolution is not required at the time of the proposal submission. However, grant recipients must have a resolution on file for the program before an agreement can be executed. Grant funding will benefit resources that do not already exist and or extend programs that are no longer receiving funding through the services Mr. Davis' office provides. This resolution will authorize Mr. Davis to participate in the Public Defense Pilot Program and submit his grant proposal to BSCC. With this said, our office recommends that your board approve this resolution authorizing Mr. Davis' participation in the Public Defense Pilot Program. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. Mr. Davis also is in the audience if you have any questions for him.
Questions from the board?
Move to adopt.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Comments from the public? Mr. Davis, if you'd like to make a comment, feel free.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for hearing this, and I appreciate your time in considering this. This grant saves the county, as you've been informed, saves the county approximately $92,000 a year. It is a grant that lasts for 3 years, $92,000 a year, so total over $250,000. The law has changed. People are being sent back for resentencing. They are going to be resentenced, and it is work that is going to need to be done. And if the grant was not available, it is work that the county would have to pay for. Luckily, with this grant, the state will now pay for that work to be done, saving the county a lot of money. And so I appreciate your time. I appreciate your consideration of this. And we're happy that we're able to do this for the county.
Great. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Roll call. Rochelle?
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 112-2022, recommend nomination for county supervisor position for Group 2 counties of County Medical Services Program. That's the CMSP Governing Board for the term of 2022.
Okay.
I'd like to make a nomination of Oscar Villegas, Yolo County Supervisor.
I'll second that.
I have a first and a second. Any other comments from the board? From the public? Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous.
Thank you. Correspondence, Rochelle. Limited correspondence, thank you. Board comments. Andy.
Oh, well, I don't know if when we're gonna finish signing this certificate of recognition for Ian Scott for his work at creating a map for current and future planned areas of development. And this was something asked for by the casino. You know, where's the development? And it's just this Ian actually worked at, I think, Staples or one of the print shops, and he had this this talent that we didn't know he had, and he did a beautiful job on the maps. The maps are now up in both the casino, and a lot of the individuals have this map already. I just thought I don't know when this was going to get presented to them.
So I don't see Ian out here, but if we'll make that presentation, you and I'll go make that personally, if that'll work for you.
Okay.
Again, a great representative of our county, does a great job, and particularly in the broadband, what we've assigned him to, and he's on top of it. So,
well, we never really quite realized the talent that we have in our staff, and they just surprise us every day with the many things they're capable of doing extremely well. So
yes,
and the map's up at Tracy's, so if you like to see it and see what the development is, okay.
And buy a
That's
piece
it.
of pie while you're there. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Promote that local. Don.
We had the Buckeye. It was very successful, pretty much back to normal, and it did not rain. Thank you.
It rained before, you know.
It did not rain.
No report. Okay, County Council. Gary, I apologize.
It's okay. I think I might have done the same thing to you when you were virtual once. If not,
Yeah, I think so.
At the water agency, but easy to do. So I'm back in DC attending the Association of Defense Communities annual summit. So we're learning about how communities can better support the military installations that we have in our community. A lot of the things I've heard so far aren't necessarily new. They're the same kind of things we've been hearing from leadership at Beale for a while now. So energy resilience is a top priority for the military. Other key challenges include base access, safe and affordable housing, quality education, and military spouse employment opportunities. And in fact, the military has started ranking bases and making basing decisions based on the quality of local education, as well as the ability of military spouses to use their license in that particular state. So I know our board last year, I believe it was, sent letters of support, and the legislature passed it and the governor signed it, increasing licensure portability in California. So that was great. I learned more specifics about what schools they look at and how they determine that. And probably the biggest takeaway, I learned about several grant programs that might be beneficial for local initiatives that we're working on to benefit both the base and the community. And I shared those with Lon Hadamia already. So that's it for me.
Very good. Thank you. Kevin, County, pick your whichever.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
I just had a quick item. I wanted to get a consensus from the board on. I received an email yesterday from Jacob Young with the Yuba-Sutter Lodging Association. The Yuba-Sutter Lodging Association has a 2% surcharge that they're collecting as part of their tourism improvement program. And they need to renew that, and they want to renew it for another 10 years. And so it's a little last minute. They needed the confirmation from the county by March 15th. And so if the board's okay, so I guess I should check with council by consensus. I'd send a letter on the county's behalf, just acknowledging that the county supports what the Lodging Association is proposing to do.
I think we're very supportive to that program, but comment.
So it's a self-imposed surcharge. So every member of the Lodging Association is collecting an extra 2% from their clients, the visitors. Right. You stay at a hotel in the Yuba-Sutter area. There's a 2% surcharge on your fees there, and that's put into a pot that then that group uses to promote tourism in Yuba-Sutter.
Okay, so we're not mandating it, and we don't have control or discretion over spending it. It's
No.
we're telling them you can charge more for your clients, and then you can spend the money that you charge more up to how you want to.
Exactly. It's a private enterprise kind of self-imposing a fee in order to promote tourism in the Yuba-Sutter area.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, I think it works well for them and us. So I think you have a positive response from the board.
All right. I see Gary nodding online too.
Thumbs up are good.
Yep. And then the only other quick item, yesterday, I had the opportunity to interview applicants for our Measure K Citizens Oversight Committee. And there was a panel of us. So Dan Mirswa, Rich Eberly, and myself interviewed. We had 9 applicants for the 5 openings. So coming back to the board on March 22nd will be a recommendation of those 9 that we interviewed yesterday, which 5 would we recommend the board appoint to that committee that needs to get going so that they can review the Measure K expenditures occurring this fiscal year.
Great.
All right. Thanks.
Good deal. Okay, last but not least, I'd like to read just a quick article here. That North Central County Consortium Workforce Development Board submitted a grant proposal in response to a competitive solicitation from the California Employment Development Board in coordination with the California Workforce Development Board and the California Labor and Workforce Agency, which announced the availability of up to $11.5 million for equity and special population solicitation for proposals. On February the 22nd, 2022, the EDD announced grants totaling $11,451,835 to 19 organizations. North Central County Consortium has been awarded $1.5 million. That is the highest allocation in the state for one entity to serve English language learners, homeless, justice-involved individuals, people with disabilities, and veterans. Cindy Newton is the executive director of North Central Counties. Her team consistently works harder than anyone I know on providing education experience to our community. I just have to acknowledge all of the work they do. Wanted to make sure the board was well aware of what they do, and want to praise them in the things they do for our counties. So just an acknowledgement. They have some money coming. Very good. Rochelle, any comments?
None for me, thank you.
Very good. So from here, we will go to closed session, and it looks like we have 2 pages of them. I hope we finish by lunch. Those that would like to stick around are welcome to do that. Otherwise, we'll be back when we can finish.
I already signed it.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.